Hi, welcome back to Mother Clucker's Keto Kitchen. Tonight we're going to be making a meatloaf with a creamy mushroom sauce. The first thing we're going to do is put our meatloaf together and get it in the oven. So what you want to do is turn your oven on to 350 degrees. Get that heating up. Mine's already going. We are going to use 1 pound of ground beef. Whoops. And we're going to put this in our bowl over here. We're doing everything right over here because we're going to be cooking everything together here. So we're going to put 1 pound of ground beef in our bowl. We're also going to be adding 1 pound of ground pork to our bowl. Hopefully we don't get the plastic in there. Sorry. I'm not very good at this, I guess. Alright, let's pop that bad boy in there. The fun thing is now we're going to stick our hands in here. We are going to combine the meat, the ground beef, and the pork. And we want to mix that. So it's like kindergarten. You get to play. We're going to mix our meat and our pork, our beef. I guess they're both meat. So our pork and our ground beef together. Alright, that looks pretty good. Kind of sloshed it around a little bit. Alright, so I'm going to make kind of a little bowl in here. The next thing I'm going to do before I wash my hands is I'm going to crack 3 eggs into this. I'm just going to put 3 eggs right in there. Sorry, I keep all my eggshells. So 3 eggs. And these are fresh eggs, fresh right out of the you know what. Alright, I'm going to stick my hands back in here. I'm going to kind of break the eggs up. And then I'm going to mix this with my hand. This is the best way to do it. It makes it get all incorporated in there. Alright. Fun times. Alright, so we've got 1 pound of ground beef, thawed out. 1 pound of ground pork. Now this ground pork has no sugar in it. This is just regular ground pork. And 3 fresh from the hen brown eggs. And we've got that all kind of incorporated. Let me get most of this off my fingers. I'm going to run over here, wash my hands real quick. To this, we're going to add, I'm going to heat it up just a little bit. We're going to add some green chilies to this. I like a little heat. Get my hands off a little bit. And then these are hot green chilies. So I'm only going to add 2 tablespoons of these, and this is just canned green chilies. There's no sugar in them. Maybe a little over 2 tablespoons. I'm going to add those right in. Just like so. The other thing we're going to add to this is ketchup. Now the ketchup I have has no sugar in it. It's all, or I guess what I should say, it does have sugar in it. It has erythritol in it as a sweetener. It doesn't have regular sugar in it. And we are going to add, I'm going to shake this up. If you want the brand, I get this off of Amazon, and it's this one right here. We're going to add 2 tablespoons. We'll see how good I am with the jar thing. 2 tablespoons of this ketchup. Whoops, maybe a little over. Get all that in there. Put the lid back on. To that, we are going to, I'm a little lost here. There it is. We're going to add a teaspoon of garlic powder right into there. To that, I'm going to add a teaspoon of dehydrated onion. Now, a teaspoon dehydrated, when it's fully hydrated, will make about 2 tablespoons. And then I'm going to add what's called onion salt. Found this at Trader Joe's. This is awesome. No sugar in it. This has a granulated onion, a dried onion, a minced green onion, and green chives in there. This is actually pretty cool. So if I can flip that off there. And I'm going to add a teaspoon of this too, right on top of that. And that's it for the meatloaf. At this point, I'm going to take a fork. I'm going to kind of mix all this in. And actually, I lied. There's actually one last ingredient. It's the secret ingredient because this is keto. We don't use breadcrumbs. We don't use crackers. We don't use panko. We don't use, I don't know what else you would use. So no sort of crackers or anything like that. We are going to use chicharrones, fried pork skins. And I have previously ground those up in the food processor. And they're pretty fine. Alright, so that looks pretty mixed. Nice and gooey. Alright, so to this, we're going to add these slowly. We're going to add this at a 1/4 cup of time. This is the ground pork rinds. And you'll notice that when you do that, that they kind of fall apart like brown sugar. So we're going to do a 1/4 cup at a time and mix that in there, because we don't want our meatloaf gooey and wet. We want it to be kind of set up like it normally should be. This we're going to probably, whew, that was hot. We are going to add, we're going to add one more 1/4 cup. So far we've had, that's a 1/2 cup of ground chicharrones. And these don't have any flavor. This is just fried pork skin and salt on these, and that's it. Alright. So I'm going to get back in here with my hand. Fork don't usually get it. That way I can lift it all the way around and make sure everything is in my bowl. Alright, so this is what it's going to look like. My son's probably grossing out. Alright, so we've got a nice little meatloaf there. Don't let your meatloaf, baby. Alright, so we're going to put him into a pan over here, and we're going to bake him, my meatloaf, at 350 degrees for 35 minutes. Let me wash my hands real quick because I need to spray my pan. You can either spray it or not. A lot of times it'll come out clean because there is going to be a lot of extra grease in this. Alright. And I'm spraying it with coconut oil spray. Get it in there like that. And this right here, I'm going to plop it right in there. And if it's sticking together like this, you've got the right amount of your mock breadcrumbs, your pork rinds. We want to flatten this out. You want to fill the bottom of your dish, kind of make it as even as possible. Go around. Now, a lot of people, regular meatloafers, will put ketchup or something like that on top of there. I am not. I am going to, and you notice I didn't put any salt in there. I'm actually going to do salt and pepper on the top of it now. Wash my hands again. Sorry, guys. Hot. Ooh, it's hot. All right. Oops. So we are going to put a little bit of ground black pepper on the top of it. And then we're going to use a little bit of pink salt, pink Himalayan salt. Nice heavy dose. And then we're going to throw it in the oven, like I said, 350 degrees for 35 minutes. And when it's done, we'll pop that baby out. We'll be back in shortly. Hey, welcome back to Mother Clucker's Keto Kitchen. While we have our meatloaf cooking in the oven right now, we're going to start working on our side dish, which is just our spiced up broccoli. Very simple. All you need is, we're going to use avocado oil. Avocado oil is this one right here. This is probably the best because it actually has a 500-degree cooking temperature and it doesn't smoke. And I like it because I use cast iron a lot. And then I don't get a smoke issue out of it. So I'm going to pour about 2 tablespoons in there. That's automatically going to be hot. What I'm going to add to that is the Kerrygold butter. And this is actually a brick of it. And I'm going to use about a quarter of it. Just pop that off. And I'm going to throw that in there with my pan pot. And put that in there with the avocado oil. And that's going to give it some flavor. I'm going to cook this. This little bugger in it. Alright. I'm going to turn my heat down to about 3.5 because the cast iron gets pretty hot. Alright. Almost melted. So to that, we're going to add the heat, and what I like is red pepper flakes. I'm not measuring this. That's probably about a teaspoon. I'm going to throw those in there. Some of you are probably going, oh my god. Thinking that that's a lot. To me, that's really not a lot. Put that in there. And I kind of push it down in there so that whatever seeds are left in there whole get popped open and we get that oil in there. The other thing I'm going to add is the dehydrated onion. And I'm going to add about a small little handful there. It's probably about 4 tablespoons once it hydrates in there. We're going to put that in there. Alright, now I'm going to turn my heat back up. And the only other thing that we're going to add is broccoli. And this is just some fresh broccoli florets. Whew, hot. Sorry guys. And we are just going to pop those right down in there. Just like so. Lost that little booger. And we're going to let those start cooking. Turn them around. Cook them up. This one's a little big. I'm actually going to break it down. One thing I really don't like is huge chunks. So if you've got a good spatula, metal one like this, you can do that right in the pan. All we have to do, I'm going to turn my heat back down again to about 3. Now, as you can see, the broccoli is almost soaked all of the oil up, so at this time I'm going to add just a drizzle over the top of it. And that's probably about another tablespoon of oil. You won't be eating all of that oil. A lot of it's going to have to stay in the pan. We're not going to cook these till they're soggy or anything like that. And I just keep turning them over. And they're actually pretty good just like this. I'm going to add some black pepper. Heavy dose of salt. I have to fill up my salt shaker. And that's it. I'm going to turn the heat off. And that's the way I do it. I don't like them soggy. I like them where they've still got, you can actually, if you wanted to pick it up, you can pick it up without it, the little tree falling over. So how tall I can be. Put these over here. We're actually going to use the same pan to make our mushroom cream sauce. We're going to keep all the little goodies and goodness that's still in this pan in there for that. Get all those out. Alright. Actually looks really good. And that is our simple spiced up broccoli. Not much to it, and that will be our side dish. And then to go along with that, when we come back from our break, we are going to go ahead and start our cream sauce, our mushroom cream sauce that goes over our meatloaf. And if you wanted to, you could probably put it over your broccoli too. It probably tastes just as good. Alright, so we'll be back in just a little bit. Alright guys, welcome back to Mother Clucker's Keto Kitchen. Dog is probably going to join us here in a minute. This is Penny Lulu, for those of you who don't know. She is my scavenger. One of them. I have 3 basset hounds like this. So right now, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and turn this back on. Now as you notice, I still have from the broccoli, there's still some bits of onion in here. There's probably still a little bit of butter in here and a little bit of avocado oil. So what we are going to do, the rest of that hunk of butter that I have, this is probably 2 sticks of butter right here, is going right in here, that whole thing. And we're going to melt it. I'm supposing you guys could use whatever butter you want as long as it's a full fat butter. They have unsalted and salted butter. I choose the salted. I prefer the Kerrygold. It's grass-fed from cows. So we're going to let this sit in here. Switch it around a little bit. And I'm going to actually turn it down because I don't want it to burn. We don't want our butter burnt. So as this is melting down, we are going to add our mushrooms. Now I'm not going to put any salt in here at all because this is a salted butter and this is going to be a lot of butter in this dish along with a lot of heavy cream. So we're going to let that be in there. We're going to use this whole thing. This is 8 ounces of mushrooms. You can use baby bellas, white ones, I guess whatever you prefer. So the whole thing we're going to throw in there. And we're actually going to cook these. These will cook down nice. Usually if you use the baby bellas, they actually stay a little firmer, I think, than the regular white mushrooms. And I don't know like if there's a brand for the white mushroom. I have no idea. These are the baby bellas. So these will actually stay a little firmer. Now I'm going to turn the heat up since I got the mushrooms in. We're going to let these cook just a little bit. We're going to get the rest of this butter melted. And like I said, we're not adding any salt, but we are going to add some pepper. So we're going to put some brown pepper in here. And go around there. And I'm going to add a little bit of garlic powder. And I just put a little bit in my hands, probably half a teaspoon, and that's it. And then we'll just get that stirred around. And that's basically it for the flavoring. It's just a little bit of garlic powder and pepper. That look good. Bubbling away in the mushrooms. Mushroom land. Alright, so we're going to let those cook down. I don't want them to cook too much because, like I said, I don't want them to be real soft. But these ones should hold up. These are the Baby Bellas, and they do hold up pretty well. So we'll get this going to a good rolling boil. And then we are going to add our heavy whipping cream to this. And then we've got cream cheese also that we're going to put in here. And this is basically it for the sauce. And it's actually really good. This is what you can put over, I really use it for anything. Pork chops, meatloaf, steak if you want to. But like my husband says, if you cook a steak good enough, you don't have to have anything on it. You shouldn't put a sauce on your steak if it's cooked good. So, and he's correct. That's probably the only time he's correct. So, alright, so this is starting to boil. Alright, so to this, I'm going to add 2 cups of heavy whipping cream. I'm going to add it slowly because this is probably, with the butter, it separates. So I'm just going to add a little bit at a time. Try and get it all incorporated. See, the butter is going to float on top. A little bit more. Now this is the same pan that we did our broccoli in. I did not wash it out, so there's still, you can see there's little things of broccoli in there coming off the side of the pan, which is just fine. Actually gives a little bit more flavor. And there's still some of those dehydrated onions floating around in here. So we'll get all of that added. Make sure we get all that out. And we're going to let this come to a boil. As that happens, put this over here, we have 8 ounces of cream cheese. You can either use softened, unsoftened. This one isn't really that soft. It's been sitting out for a little while, but it's not completely softened yet. So what I do is I usually break these up into 4s and then cut those in half. Kind of like a cheese chunk. And then I actually put those in our stuff here, and our mixture. Try and get this cheese off. It's still kind of sticky. Gotta love cream cheese. Alright. I'm actually going to flip this off of the package. Makes it much easier right onto the countertop. Alright. So we've already cut those up, and I'm just going to set these down in here. They're like little cubes. And we're going to get these all melted in there. Everything incorporated. Get all this off the counter. Wash my hands real quick. And then we will kind of watch that as we go. We'll get that going until it's all melted. And then that's it. Not much to a keto cream sauce. You don't have to make sure oil and your butter and your flour, and then make sure that that's all good before you put anything else in. It's just simple, whole ingredients that we're using. And the good thing about this is that you don't actually have to put anything in it to make it thick. It gets thick as it cools off. So we're just going to leave this in here. We're going to give this probably about 5 minutes or so. And then when we come back, this should all be done. So we'll see in just a bit. Alright, welcome back, guys. We are just finishing up our creamy cheese sauce with mushroom, and as you can see, all the cheese is melted. It's actually it actually got pretty thick. I've turned the heat off, and it's actually pretty thick, as you can see. It's not runny by any means. So this is the best thing about this, is you don't have to add any thickeners or anything like that. You have to add flours or any crazy junk like that. So to this, I'm going to attempt this by my little lonesome, and I'm going to try and pour this. We're going to see all in here without it going everywhere and on me. There. Uh-oh. Alright, let me get a spoon ever so carefully. Make sure I got a hold of that, because this pan is like fire, man. It is hot. Get all that cheese out and into our bowl. And this is just like a little Pyrex mixing bowl. Or measuring bowl, I'm sorry. That's it. Cheese sauce. It's really thick. This is going to go over our meatloaf. We'll put a little dipper in there. That's it. Alright, so we've got just a couple minutes left while we're waiting on our meatloaf to finish. And then as soon as that's done, we'll come back and we'll get that out and we'll plate that up. See you in a bit. Alright, welcome back to Mother Clucker's Keto Kitchen. We are going to be taking our meatloaf out now. Whew. I checked it, so I sliced it a little bit. It is done. I'll pull that out of the oven. Looks pretty good. Hotter than Hades. So that's what it is. And you get all this grease in here. So we are actually going to slice this just like so. Now remember, this was pretty easy. This is a whole pound of ground beef and a whole pound of ground pork. The serving size on this is 1 slice. Depending on your macros, I suppose you could have 2. If you're really not counting macros and really don't care and really think it's just awesome, eat as much as you want. Alright, so I am going to pull this little piece out right here. Set that on our plate. We're going to add some of our broccoli. Hot tamale. And then we're going to top our meatloaf. I'll scoot that over so I don't get a whole lot in my broccoli. I don't want it that way. With our mushroom and cream sauce. And there you have it. Dinner is served. That is our keto meatloaf, our mushroom cream sauce, and our easy peasy spiced up broccoli. And there you have it. Easy stuff on keto. We'll see you next time. Have a good night.